Hi everybody, I just want to continue with the grammar topic. So yesterday we did the difference between as and like, and today I want to look at the topic of enough, the word enough, okay? And I think in Espanol it's suficiente. And I'm going to show you the British Council website also and the Cambridge website to explain the grammar, okay? So I'm going to share the screen, and you remember the page from yesterday is here. This was the British Council page and the grammar section, and we continue to the middle, the intermediate or upper intermediate section, and then we had the choice yesterday of as and like at the beginning, which we did, and today I want to look at enough. Okay, so let's begin the lesson in relation to enough, and you can see here this is the full page. It's just a picture to help with the text, and there's a little introduction. Then we have one exercise, grammar test 1. We can start, and after the grammar test 1 there's the grammar explanation, exactly the information about enough. For example, enough with adjectives and adverbs, enough with verbs, enough with nouns. Okay, and there's one or two more sections. We can use enough as a pronoun or with an adjective and a noun, and then we have another expression, enough of. Okay, and then there's a second grammar exercise similar to yesterday, and we can try to practice those together. And if you want to do it yourself on your own, perfect, you can do that as well, of course. So do you know how to use the word enough? Okay, and in relation to this picture, we can speculate that maybe the girl on the right, she has not had enough sleep or something like that. You can use your imagination. Okay, so look at these examples to see how enough is used. And let me get my color so I can identify the topics. Okay, so we have here the examples. She's not old enough yet to walk. So it's the verb to be in the negative. Old is the adjective. So after the adjective, we have enough. Okay, that's the key. In relation to enough, it's the position that's the most important that you have to remember. And after the adjective, we have enough. Okay, and I think never before the adjective. And that's the most important part. And here, the verb to walk, yet, todavía. Okay, we are not, so that's the subject, the verb to be, negative, we are not acting fast enough. So again, fast is the adjective, and enough comes in the position after the adjective to stop climate change. I don't read enough. So here it's the verb to be, and again, the position is after the verb. So with the adjective, the position is after, and the position of enough is after the adjective, and for the verb, the position is after the verb also. Is there enough coffee? So when it's a question and the substantivo, the position is different. And that's the most important lesson. That's the most important point from this page. It's the position of enough in relation to adjective, noun, verb, or adverb. Okay? We've had enough of their lies, mentiras. Okay? So let me explain the grammar explanation first. I think it's a good idea to do the explanation before the exercise, test 1. So here's the explanation. Enough means as much as necessary. Okay, so that's the synonym, that's the translation, as much as necessary. And I'll get my color here. It can be used with adjective, it can be used with adverb, it can be used with verb, or it can be used with a noun. Okay, it can also be, or it can also act as a pronoun. Okay, so there are the different grammatical terms that we have for the word enough. Okay, so the first one with adjectives and adverbs. Remember, adverb is in Espanol mente, lentamente, suavemente, rapidamente. In English, it's quickly, quickly, slowly, and other ones as well, happily. There's many adverbs with the ly at the end, okay? So enough comes in the position after adjectives and adverbs, okay? So after. I'm not tall, that's the adjective, and the position is after. Your marks are good, adjective, position after. Quickly, enough. So adverb, I could not write quickly enough. Okay, so that's very, very important. And then the phrasal verb to run out of time is when you have no time left. Falta de tiempo. Okay, you have no more time. But the position of enough is after the adverb. Okay, I've helped at conferences often enough, and again, I think often is an adverb. Okay, so very important, and it's a big error. It's an obvious error when the people put the position in the wrong place. So it's important to try and identify when people are speaking the correct use of enough. Okay, the next section in relation to verbs. So in relation to verbs, enough comes after. Okay, so again with verbs, with adjectives, with adverbs, the position is after. I make sure, so that's the verb. I drink is another verb. So there's the verb, and enough is after. I drink enough during the day. I don't read, that's the verb in the negative. And again, the position of enough is after. But I'm going to start downloading books to my phone. So for adjective, adverbs, and verbs, the position of enough is after. Now we have nouns, pronouns, and another section here that's adjective and nouns. So with nouns specifically, and I get my color. So enough comes before. That's the big difference. Okay, so big difference. And this is the classic error in translation. When I was teaching many people, this was a very, very common confusion. So it's necessary to be very clear with the correct way. Okay, so enough comes before the substantivo or before the noun. Okay, so there is not, no I, there is not enough bread. So substantivo, and enough is before. In the question, have you got or do you have, substantivo is money and the position is before. Do you have enough money? Have you got enough money? Okay. As a pronoun, enough can also be used without a noun. So I will obtain some more chairs. There are not enough. So here it's the pronoun because it's not necessary, the substantivo, because of the context. Because everybody understands the context of the chairs, the second sentence is not necessary, the chair. So there are not enough. And that's the end of the sentence. So in that case, it's the pronoun. Okay. The question, do you want more coffee? No, I've had enough. So pronoun again. So there's no second repetition of coffee, the substantivo, because it's not necessary because of the context. Okay. And they explain that we know what the noun is, coffee or chairs, because of the context. Okay, and then with an adjective and a noun, so that's a little bit more complicated. So when enough is used with an adjective and a noun, two positions are possible, so it's more flexible, but the meaning changes. Okay, so let's look at the examples. We have not got, we do not have, we have not got big enough envelopes, so that is the adjective, and the position is after. An envelope is a substantivo como sobres, and we have not got enough big envelopes. So there's a difference in the significance. Okay, so the first one is there's this the size of the envelope, the physical size of one envelope is not sufficient for the letter, so we need a bigger size of one envelope. Okay, and the second example, we haven't got enough big envelopes, so it's completely different. The second example is, yes, we have the big envelopes, but we do not have a sufficient quantity of the big envelope. So that's a very good example. It looks very similar, but there is a big difference between the two, and that detail is very important. Okay, so when enough is after the adjective, as we said, big enough, it describes the adjective. And that's the perfect explanation here as well to my explanation. And then the final part, I'll just clear the color so we can move down the page, is the last combination is enough of. Okay, and I get my color again. So enough of, and we normally only use enough of when it is followed by a determiner or a pronoun. Okay, and a determiner is this, that, these, okay? And the pronoun is my, your, his, you, and them. Okay, so let's see. There is not enough of that bread, so that's the determiner. There is not enough of that bread to make sandwiches for everybody. I've seen enough of his work. Okay, so that is his. His is the key here. Because you have his, that is the possession. And it could be the pronoun, I think, in that case, to be able to recommend him. Okay, and then finally, there is enough of, as we saw, us. So that's the pronoun again. So there's enough of us, enough of them to make a difference. Okay, interesting. So that is the grammar explanation. So now let's look at the first exercise. Okay, so grammar test 1. And you can try this yourself as well with me, or you can do it on your own. So those children don't look something to go to school. Old enough, enough old, enough of old. Okay, so the rule with enough of is a pronoun after or a determiner. So old is an adjective. So it's not a determiner, it's not a pronoun. So no, not number 3. Number 2, old is adjective, and we remember the position of enough is always after the adjective, okay? So number 1 is correct. Old enough, okay, because the position. Number 2, I should have helped. It's a regret, a lamentar. I should have helped more. I'm sorry I didn't, okay? Enough do, so do is the verb. And remember, after the verb, we have enough. So the position of enough is after the verb, after the adverb, and after the adjective. So for that reason, it's do, enough, okay? I'm sorry I didn't do enough. And remember, enough of is with the determiner or it's with the pronoun, okay, not the verb. Okay, number 3, if we don't obtain, if we don't have something, we start to feel depressed. Enough vitamin D enough, or enough of vitamin D, okay? And this is the difference. So the exception is the substantivo. So with the substantivo, we go before. So with the adjective, adverb, we go after, and the verb, we go after. But for the noun, that's the exception, we go before with enough. Okay, that's the key for the whole lesson. So for that reason, it's number 1. We didn't get enough vitamin D because it's a substantivo. Okay, that's enough of is with the determiner or with the pronoun. Had enough is the verb when you have a subject before. So that's the subject. But here, that's enough. So we have the verb that is, and we need as a pronoun. Okay, so that is enough because we understand the context. For that reason, enough as a pronoun. I'm full to eat another bite. So it's in relation to the context of food. We understand the significance and the context. So it's not necessary to say that's enough food. It's sufficient just to say the pronoun. Okay, that's enough. I'm too full, lleno, to eat another bite. More there is el verbo to bite. But here it's a substantivo. Okay, I think that's correct. I do not have something to start a new hobby, a new pastime. So I do not have enough free time. So free time is the substantivo. And for that reason, enough is before the substantivo. Okay, that's the rule. And enough of, you have the determiner or the pronoun. And here it's neither. Okay, the next one we have something, the red material. But I don't think we've got the blue. Okay, so I think for this one, we will go with enough of. And because it's a determiner or a pronoun, okay? And it fits the most comfortable for sure. It's number 3, I think. So hopefully you're doing okay, and we can check the answers at the end, and hopefully we do not have too many errors. If you ask him, so it's the verb, if you ask him nicely enough, nicely enough of, he might, it's a possibility, permit, borrow, prestar y preguntar, ad prestar. So very important difference to borrow and to lend. So here, if you ask him nicely enough, so nicely is the adverb, and remember, position of the adverb and adjective, adverb, and verb, enough is after. And for that reason, we go here, nicely enough. He might let you go borrow the car. Okay, the final one, I don't have a something to get a dog. I don't have a big enough house, a big enough of a house. So enough of, the rule, is the determiner or the pronoun, and it's neither here. I don't have a big enough house. So this is the exception. I think the two positions are possible. The rule was when you have the adjective and the noun together, like here, big and house, adjective and noun, the position of enough is flexible. Okay, so when you have the adjective and the noun together, you can put the position of enough in either place that you want, at before or at the end. Or sorry, in the middle or at the beginning. And here, it is, sorry, to change the position, it's always in the middle, and the adjective changes position, and the substantivo. So 2 and 3, I think, are possible. I think 2 is definitely more comfortable. There is another possibility. I don't have a house big enough. So the second possibility in relation to the position, I was incorrect. The second possibility would be I don't have a house big enough. Okay, so it has to be in a different order for the third one to be correct. So let's see how many errors we have. Okay, good. So everything was correct. And we can move now to grammar test 2. Maybe it's a bit more complicated. I'm worried, preoccupation, preoccupied. I didn't bring something for the cold weather. I didn't bring clothes enough clothes. So clothes is a substantivo. And remember, before the substantivo, we have enough. So that's the only one. Substantivo, enough is before. For the adverb, the verb, and the adjective, enough is after. Okay, so I didn't bring enough clothes for the cold weather. My job doesn't pay enough well, doesn't pay well enough. So I think this is the adverb in relation to pay, and adjective well, so it does not pay well enough. Okay, we lost perder in the past. Our players just are not, so negative, yet, are not good enough. So it's the adjective, and after the adjective we have enough. And then the next one, did you buy more oil? There is not enough, or there enough isn't, or there is not enough of. And it's the first one, there is not enough, because it's the pronoun. In the context, we understand oil. We don't need to repeat the substantivo. For that reason, it's number 1. The next one, there isn't enough that cake for everyone to have some, enough of, or of enough. So never number 3. Well, not in this case. Number 1, no, because that is the determiner. And because it's a determiner, like this, that, these, those, the rule is enough of. There isn't enough of that cake. Very important. I don't go out enough, salir. I don't enough go out. I don't enough of go out. Okay, so I don't go out. So it's the verb, salir. And after the verb we have enough. After the adjective we have enough. And after the adverb we have enough. The substantivo, enough is before. Okay. And then the last 2, I've dropped gotiar, cayer. I've dropped €1 between those 2 cupboards, but I don't have enough small hands, enough of small hands, or small enough hands. Okay, so this is the adjective and the substantivo. So the position is in the middle. I don't have small enough hands. That's like the envelopes example, the big envelopes that you might need to revise if you want. Is there enough blue paint to finish decorating the room? Is there blue enough paint to finish decorating the room? Is there paint enough blue? So this again is similar to the envelopes. It has a different meaning. And because it's finish, we would choose number 1. Number 2 is possible in relation to the color, the importance of the color. But because we want to finish the room, is there enough blue paint to finish the room? Okay, so hopefully you tried your best, and the answers here. Okay, good, 8 from 8. Good, so that is the British Council explanation of enough. Very, very good. And you want to review it. I think it's important. I think the key, finally, to summarize is for the position of enough, it is related to the adverb, the verb, and the adjective. The position is after. And for the substantivo, it's before. And then we can have another possibility, enough of, if you have the determiner, this, that, these, or a pronoun. Okay? So that's a very good page. I think it's a good website. Again, we go back and I can show you the list. So yesterday we did as and like. Today we did enough. And then tomorrow we might move on to the next one, or soon we will move on to the next topic. And then for the Cambridge grammar page, which is here, this is pretty much, it's quite similar explanation. I don't want to confuse you now about the explanation, but if you want yourself, I recommend for further study, you can look at this page. There's the link, okay? And if we go back, I can show you, that's the grammar page. And they have the list here of all the topics, but you just enter into the box enough and you will get the section. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope that you have a good day. And if you have any questions or comments or feedback, it would be great. And hopefully talk to you soon. Okay, thank you and bye-bye.